Welcome back to New Lucid. Today we'll be taking a look at the Oak switches, a pretty unique light tactile. These serve as the next switch in the lineup of the Dotnick and Loobed Switches collaboration. Let's first take a look at the specs. Oaks are a light tactile with a beige top and bottom housing and a light brown stem. They come with a pretty light 59-gram extended spring. Both housings and stem are palm. They're PCB mounted and don't need films. They are long poles. Finally, Oaks are going to run for the same price as Pines, being a moderate 50 cents dry and 60 cents lubed from the factory. Let's take a listen. So the first thing of note here is the factory lubing, which is on the overdone side. It's affecting the feel and sound a lot, so I can't really comment on the dry version of these switches, but it's a lot more lube than I would do. If you listen closely to some of the switches, you can hear the lube popping when you bottom out, and a lot of the switches end up being a little bit sluggish, which is in turn increasing the tactility. I've been told it's Krytox 205 grade 0, which is a thicker lube. Using this on tactiles is already pushing it a bit, and I personally only use Tribosys 3203. It could definitely also be more consistent, as I feel half my batch was lubed one way and the other half was lubed another way. Because of this, sound and feel can also vary pretty dramatically between switches. Because these are tactiles, this is particularly annoying since it makes tactility across switches inconsistent. Both bottom out and top out sound are on the moderate side, leaning towards the higher pitched end of the sound spectrum. Some of the less lubed switches are kinda sharp and plasticky, so I assume this is a bigger problem with the dry switches. However, this doesn't affect a whole lot of the batch. Of course, Oaks are still much less sharp overall compared to Holy Bobas, since they do have heavier lubing and a lighter bump. With that, the overall volume ends up being pretty low, and these are on the quieter end. Lastly, there isn't any spring ping, which is great. As for feel, there's an ever so small amount of pre-travel before the bump, which is kinda hard to find with tactiles nowadays. The bump itself is a moderate size and very rounded, much more gentle than something like the Holy Boba. But at the same time, it's a little bit stronger than cotton candies or broken in MX Browns, which is the kind of light tactile I'm used to. Even with the heavy factory lubing, Oaks aren't the smoothest, but since they're tactile, it's really not a big deal. This also adds a nice scratch character to the sound. As for stability, there's almost no vertical wobble and a fine amount of horizontal wobble. Holy Bobas have always been a great comparison for switch wobble, as the parts end up having excellent tolerances. The wobble of Oaks definitely isn't enough to warrant films though, and most modern switches don't anyway. Oaks differ quite a bit from all my other tactiles in terms of sound and feel. Their almost muted character with a light but noticeable bump and quiet but lively sound profile makes these almost like a sleeper switch. I think they'll perform beautifully in boards with good sound engineering, like the Corn, which just had its raffle, and the Chimera, which is starting soon. There is still a ton of room for improvement in the factory lubing process, and this applies to both the consistency across batches and getting the amount of lube just right. But overall, for what Oaks offer, I think the pricing is fair. I haven't seen a whole lot of newer popular switch offerings in the market, but prices have generally and very slowly been gravitating lower, which is great to see. So with that, while I don't think Oaks are going to be a great fit for every board, I think in the right config, Oaks can offer a unique and enjoyable experience.